Anytime I take a dog out to work with them, that session is started the minute I take.
Hey guys, Ben here, back at you. This episode of the podcast is a short clip from one of our handlers' workshops this year from this past spring. We hope you enjoy it.
Anytime I take a dog out to work with them, that session is started the minute I take the dog out of the kennel. It's not 15 minutes later when I decide we're where we want to be and we start training. Because as we start ramping up to go into a session, I want the dog's mind engaged in the idea of we are learning something here. Okay, so if we got a 15 to 20 minute session planned out in the field, it's probably a 30 to 45 minute session, because the first 15 minutes before I get there are just as important as the 15 minutes while we're there, and equally important to the 15 minutes of putting the dog back up. Because if all you do is focus on the center 15 minutes, you can take your productivity and cut it by 30% at a minimum, because it's going to fade in the beginning because you're not prepared to maximize the 15 minutes because you're just not ready for it. So those 15 minutes, first 5 minutes aren't any good. If you have the next 10 minutes good, and then you let the dog do whatever it wants as it goes back to the kennel and you decide to finally put it away for the afternoon, those 10 minutes of that 10 minutes of good stuff, 7 of them aren't worth a damn anymore because he forgot about it, because he just free ran around and did his own thing. So you got 3 minutes out of a 15-minute session worth of productivity. I say use the first 15 minutes before you get there to start dialing the dog in and stretch him out and warm him up mentally and physically. I say when you're done with a good 15-minute session, take that last 15 minutes and utilize it to be focused, under control, and now we're back up in a kennel where it can sink in and absorb. Dogs lose whatever they lost if they're allowed to run around after they've learned it. They gotta have that time to let it settle and sink in. And the other thing that we just did was 15 minutes, 15 minutes, 15 minutes. Now we have, if you do a good 15 minutes warm up and a good 15 minutes cool down, you got 45 minutes of value as opposed to 15. So I'm just talking a numbers game here. You got a lot of good repetition in. And if you do that consistently every day, you're quadrupling, you're tripling your productivity. So today, it's the idea of you cycle your training. Get ready to train, get done from training. It's all part of training. So today, we start today under control and move out to the field. It's a little exaggerated because of the setting, but it's the exact same thing. When my dog came out this morning, she came out under control, heel. I was right with her. She actually tried to go out the door ahead of me. I closed the door on her. And she went, "Oops, sorry." That set the tone for the lesson. Better follow the lead here. And I bet you she's going to be just fine. And by the time we get out there and I ask her to do something, she's dialed in because we've already warmed her up. Does that make sense? Okay, maximize that productivity.